What if you were the living embodiment of all pervasive peace? What if all sentient beings all around you increase their vibration towards harmony by merely being in your contact? What if, through conscious reasoning, focused will, and intentional living, you reform yourself, thereby becoming a catalyst in sparking transformation in others? I'm Shilpa Lewis, meditation, mindset, and mindfulness coach for midlife mompreneurs, and you are listening to Omnipresent Awareness, the podcast that will inspire you to use your story to serve humanity in not just healing, but thriving as souls, each fulfilling their highest purpose. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in to Omnipresent Awareness. This is your host, Shilpa Lewis, and welcome back. Okay, so I'm running a little challenge as I'm trying to get more people to discover this podcast and the conversations that inspire those who value personal growth. And the best way to do that is to leave reviews. You can leave a review on Spotify, Google Podcast, or Apple Podcast. So here's a little request from me to you. If you feel like you have received any value at all from these episodes, then please write a little review and take a screenshot of your review. Once you've done that, email that screenshot to me at omnimindfulness@gmail.com. Once I get your screenshot, you will receive one of my infographics. Spark your meditation practice through Sankalpa. Sankalpa is the Sanskrit word for intention setting. Along with this, you'll receive a link to my guided meditation where you can daily practice intention setting with some inspirational music and breath work. This infographic, along with the guided meditation, is guaranteed to have you start your practice for meditation with a spark. It is my gift for you for being a listener, being a supporter, and of course for you to be able to manifest the best meditation practice. So thank you for showing up, listening, and being inspired, and most importantly, taking action. I appreciate you. So again, please don't forget to take a screenshot of your review and send it to omnimindfulness@gmail.com, and I will send you that infographic and the link to the guided meditation. And now, a conversation recorded with my partner in awareness, Tanya, from our joint podcast, Mindful Mompreneur Moments. And oh yeah, if you could, please listen to the very end of the podcast for powerful insights from our guest. Thank you. And next up, Lisa Marie Todd, founder of An Appetizing Life and media visibility coach. Lisa is a serial entrepreneur whose career, much like a cat, has had many lives. She helps entrepreneurs confidently express their message so that they can build a stronger online presence. She is a certified high performance and life coach, certified meditation coach, Roger Love Method certified voice coach for speakers. She believes it's never too late to design, create, and build the life or business you desire. And now, Lisa.
Recording in progress.
Lisa, again, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're so welcome. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Lisa. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Shilpa.
So to dive right in, our first question is, can you share with our audience your journey from where you started in your career and how you arrived at your various second acts, because you've had more than one?
I have. I love to say I've had many cat lives, lived many cat lives, and they've all been good. They've all been, learning lessons in life. And as I say, nothing is wasted. So I don't know if I'll call this my second act. It might be my third or fourth, when you start to look at all the things you do in your life. But yeah, I've arrived here because I found that I was helping a lot of women over 45 trying to figure out what their next transition or next step in life was going to be. So I had already on my own had many transitions from, obviously what we do in our 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I was a mother, of a 26-year-old daughter, and I had built multiple businesses in the home fragrance and personal fragrance world, as well as in the jewelry designing world. So I had that company. I had worked in television and film prior to that. I had worked in advertising. So as I say, I have lived many, many cat lives. And so my transition now into being able to give back and to serve and to help these wonderful women who, are in this midlife moment of life to reinvent themselves, or just, have them give back, or have them share their talents, or reawaken what's inside of them to be able to share with people. So that for me is, it's just such an amazing place to be, that I can do this and have this coaching program and facilitating programs to help people. So.
Yeah, I think that once we are able to serve, I was listening to a podcast today, and the host was saying one of the biggest things a human can do is be able to serve whatever it is that you're doing, but be of service to people. And what you're doing is truly of service. Like I find it's a phenomenal way to express your passion, but also to be able to help people that are going through what you've gone through. And it's kind of like coaching / mentoring, I would say, because when you're experienced as you are, because I speak with experience and knowing you, you have to have that kind of mentorship kind of mentality, where once you go in and you're experiencing your practice, what you're doing, it's just like, wow, Lisa, you're amazing. It's just like.
Well, it is coaching, it's mentoring, it's facilitating, because I honestly believe we already all have all the answers inside of us. We just maybe need someone to ask the right question, or to dig a little deeper to let, I don't give you the answers. That's not my job. It's not my job to give you the answers. You have the answers. So I just ask the right questions, and to help you, bloom and grow and go do your thing. I want to see everybody rise. So I can sit back from an objective standpoint and go, okay, you may not see that yet, but I'm going to ask you a question so you can't see it.
Right.
Absolutely.
So our second question for you, Lisa, would be, what forms of mindfulness modalities do you personally practice and also utilize in guiding your clients?
So meditation has been at the forefront of everything for me. And that started many, many years ago, when I was in a period of high stress. And I kept finding myself saying, you need to go inward. You need to go inward. And I wasn't sure what, what exactly that meant. I had done some meditation practice. I was in tune with my body because I'm a former dancer. So, I know when things are off, and I knew just everything about me inside of me was not feeling in alignment. So I started meditating. And as I said, there was a time my mother had been diagnosed with dementia. I had some health issues. I was through a divorce. I mean, everything, it was a big pot of stew of mess that was going on. So I turned to meditation and also to journaling. I'm going to call that a mindfulness modality, because sometimes we just need to get it out of our head and onto the page. And I think that's why I introduced both of those modalities into my coaching programs and just working with people, because sometimes, we're so in our head that we can't really get down deep to let out what really is going on. And I ask people the question why a lot. And it's on the fourth or fifth why of the same question is when you really start to answer your question, which I find interesting. So using meditation to get quiet, to get still, to go inward, just to pause, is so important. And so that's why it's part of my practice. That's why I became a meditation coach, which is how I met you wonderful young women there. And so, meditation, journaling, just stillness and breath, all of that, the pause, like I said, is so important. So that's my big thing.
Absolutely. And I think that given all the various incarnations of your career that you've gone through, and I think what happens is that we get really in our heads and it's easy to get disconnected, but it sounds like you've taken that pause and integrated not only personally, but professionally.
Absolutely. And think about it, the population I work with mostly are women over 45. So we are going through so many things at once. We're going through transitions professionally, probably. We're going through transitions in our relationships with our, having children or having a spouse or a significant other, and that might be changing and shifting in some way. Our bodies are going through these amazing changes. I'm being nice about it.
But they are amazing. Yeah.
They are amazing changes, but they're difficult, because they're foreign. And as I used to say to my daughter, it's like going through puberty in reverse, when you think about it. And so, which was during her teenage years became a moment of comedy. I was like, I can get as growly as you can, because things are shifting inside of me too. So, again, for that population of women in midlife, there's a lot going on that we need to really pause, no pun intended with the word menopause, but we do need to pause and rethink and reimagine how our life can be from this point forward as we are in this transition. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think just to throw in, ironically, given the pandemic, a lot of women are reconsidering where they are in their careers. And not only personally, but professionally, they're just like, well, do I want to stay here? And I think the timing of your service is impeccable.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's important for people to rediscover things they've forgotten, because as a mom, and you too may agree with me, we set aside parts of ourselves in order to, lift our children up, or our spouses or other family members. So things slowly start to get buried and forgotten. And so when you have that moment of pause, I keep saying that word, you can start to remember, you can start to, reignite all of that goodness inside of you, which only makes you better as a mom or as a, partner. And so, like I said, we forget sometimes. And so, the pandemic made all of us pause. It was a big, stop button and, stop and take stock button, basically. So I think that's something that's very important.
Yeah, and it just overlays the concept of mindfulness, which is really my next question. But when you on purpose pause, it is essentially doing a practice of mindfulness on a daily basis. So my last question is, what insights can you give our audience in diving into their second act, perhaps even with the intention of mindfulness?
I would say, I'm going to throw out a bunch of words. Trust your gut, your instinct, your intuition, whatever you want to call it. Trust that. Usually that first thought, that first feeling, that first emotion is your truth. And I would say, trust that, listen to it. If you're kind of off about it, sit with it. That's where meditation can come in, because something has come up, something has bubbled up to wake you up and to say, knock on your door and say, hey, pay attention to this. So that's when you turn to the meditation practice and you turn to your journaling, but trust your first instinct or your gut reaction or whatever emotion that's coming through. And that will put you on your path. I honestly believe that. And as I look back over all the years and all the transitions and changes that I had, it was those moments of those gut feelings or emotions that came up that started to make me do the, the pivot, or the, whatever you want to call it, the pivot, the turn, the transition, moving forward into something different and better, to a place where I should be instead of where I was.
And that speaks to not just about the career as a second act, but perhaps even
Everything.
Everything.
Yes. And that's the other thing. You can't just look at your career, because your career and your personal are tied together, and so all of that has to be in alignment of what you personally feel, what your values are. And this is something I, in one of my courses that I teach, we go a deep dive into that, because unless you're very aware and in tune with all of those things, and, why you want to do something, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your values are, what your passion is for whatever you're doing in life, unless you're in line with that, you can't really make the decisions to make the changes and the transitions down the line, because you're going to be fuzzy. Yeah. So it's a way to get rid of that fuzzy thinking, is to go inward. And again, going back to the mindfulness of having a meditation practice, or just being still if you don't want to meditate, or just taking, a minute to take a few breaths.
Yeah.
Do whatever you have to do. I don't expect anyone to go sit for 20 minutes or an hour and meditate every day. Sometimes that's just, that's not possible for most people, but take that moment to be still.
And what sparks the need, I often believe, for that shift or transition is something is out of alignment. And it's not just one thing. It's not like, oh, I was practicing my career in the wrong place. It's not in alignment with who I am now in my 40s. It could be that you've not paid attention to your body, mind, and spirit for such a long time that they're out of alignment and the career's out of alignment.
Yeah. And it's what we were speaking of earlier. Things go dormant, and you have to wake them up and shake them up and bring them back and make them alive again, so you can get back into alignment. We have to pay attention to all areas of our life. And you're not going to be able to fix them all at once if there's something to fix, but be aware of it. And I think awareness is the biggest thing we can have, the biggest gift we can give to ourselves, is having awareness about where we are and who we are in this moment in time. So.
Yeah. And I always love to hear that word awareness. It's being thrown around a lot, but it's such an important concept to be aware and to be able to feel, like you say, be in stillness long enough to feel what's bubbling up, to feel what's going on, and act on it if you need to.
Yeah. And be okay with it. If it's good or bad, it is. That's what you're feeling. That's where you're at right now. So,
And these tools, it just occurred to me that these tools for second act, or whatever, your third act, are actually applicable to your first act, even if you're in your 20s and 30s. Because my goodness, I would have made some of the mistakes I made in my career had I had these tools at a younger age.
It's interesting to speak with my daughter, who's 26, and she's in grad school and living her best life right now. And we have these conversations, and it's nice to hear that she'll take that moment to pause before she makes a decision. I don't remember always doing that in my 20s. I'm like, let's do it. Let's go. So it's refreshing to see that with somebody.
Even with my 9-year-old, I've taught him, put your hand on your heart. I forget to do that myself, but he'll be like, okay, I'm going to take a breath here.
Yeah, just breathe. Sometimes just taking a breath is all you need. So
yeah, it truly is a blessing that we have more of that out there now, and people can hear it, and we can tell our children to use these tools because they are essential.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I think our audience will gain so much. And maybe you want to mention the course that you are working on?
Yes, I run workshops called the One Focus Workshop, because we're trying to do too many things, and it's nice to just focus in on one thing, one goal, and figure that out and move forward. And I also am offering, coming up in June, a course called the Clarity Toolkit, where you're going to do a really deep dive into getting very clear about just about everything in your life. And I already teach this to my one-on-one clients and in group coaching. So that's coming up, and I'm just excited to, have women get out and rediscover and themselves and help the world, serve the world.
That
This is
sounds
wonderful.
amazing, Lisa. Yeah,
Thank you.
we can't wait to be able to share that to our audience. It sounds like amazing tools. Thank you so much for
Yes.
being with us, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate you
Lisa.
guys. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for tuning in. Check out the links in the description and please subscribe, follow, and share. And continue to be omnipresent.